Good morning. How are you? I'm in the land of the Virgin Queen, Virginia, and you don't need a cup of coffee when the weather gets this brisk, if you will. So I see Rudy Giuliani, Rogue Rudy, is back in the news again. The question is whether he is a dupe or he is an agent or an asset of the Russians interfering in the election with very suspicious material, supposedly from Biden's son, and released in very strange ways. And I guess he hoped this would be the October surprise, but no one's clear if the whole thing is made up or if it's mixed with reality, or but there has been a move to prevent some of it from being published. And you keep wondering how Rudy can veer around these corners and not end up in a cell himself. And I suppose that's because of his pal, the Orange Menace in the West Wing, Mr. Trump. I put on Twitter the fact that Rudy and I were prosecutors together, and I knew him when he was a Bobby Kennedy Democrat. In fact, when he was at Manhattan College, he'd written an article saying that Bobby Kennedy was not a, he was legitimately right to run for office in New York for the U.S. Senate. So he's a different guy, and we even had a conversation about him running in Staten Island. And I said you couldn't run there as a Democrat, not in those days. But he went to Washington, and he came back a different person. And before he'd gone to Washington, he was he was an accessible, helpful guy. He was gung-ho about everything. One evening, first long conversation I had with him was, he asked me if I wanted to know how he did a summation in a case, and I said, sure. He had been in the office months ahead of me. I had clerked in the Court of Appeals. He clerked in the District Court. And over the years, I sold him my apartment on the east side of Manhattan. And by that time, he was already shifting to the dark side. And some people thought that when he came back from Washington to be U.S. attorney, he had decided, like Dewey, to do it based on being seen and known in the press. And one of the things he did was he'd arrest stockbrokers and put them in cuffs. And I got a lot of press, but these are the kinds of people, if you call them up, they'd be at your office. I mean, they commit these crimes, but they show up. So that was all to get coverage for himself, to make the way for him running for office. He's a great study, Shakespearean, in the sense that Aristotle thought that the greatest drama was tragedy, and he's a tragedy. And he would always ask that, as Aristotle did, what was the tragic flaw? And I guess in Rudy's case, it was power. He wanted power. He wanted money. He got a taste of it, and he couldn't get rid of it. And his wife said in their recent divorce action that he changed when his presidential bid failed. And he's been continuing to fail, it seems to me, in the public eye. I saw him years ago at a festival, a film festival. We had our picture taken together. But, nobody knows him now. And we also see Trump troubled by the fact that he's been caught, in my opinion. The Mueller report, though it didn't go all the way, the impeachment effort, although the Republicans had no backbone, they just drive him crazy. And so he keeps trying to come back at it. And he couldn't even get the corrupt attorney general to do his bidding to help him with another October surprise. So what we have is him basically saying, I'm going to release all the material. And, there are court cases pending, and they asked, did he mean it? So maybe we'll see everything that was in the Mueller investigation and elsewhere. Finally, we have the Supreme Court making a decision to hear an argument in late November about whether or not to include or exclude immigrants from the count. They've always been included, which determines representation and the circulation of public funds. So there's a lot going on. But get out. Get out in the cool air, feel good, vote, get a friend to vote, spend a few bucks, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.